Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking all things Terminator 2D No Fate. It's a new 2D side-scrolling take on the classic Terminator 2 film. Retro style, pixel art, arcade action, and yeah, killer robots. So if you like a bit of nostalgia with your shooting along with some great throwbacks from the film, grab yourself a snack and something to drink, and let's get into it. So in short, this is a love letter to old school action games with a Terminator twist. Developed by Bitmap Bureau, published by Reef Entertainment, and launching, after a good few delays, on December 12th, 2025, we hope. And it's great because it's launching on pretty much everything: PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch. So no matter your console preference for this Terminator game, you're covered. So what exactly is Terminator 2D No Fate? In essence, a 2D action side-scroller that adapts and expands the story of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. You'll get to play as iconic characters from the film: Sarah Connor, John Connor, and the legendary T-800, and who doesn't want to play as actual Arnie in one of his greatest forms ever? But it doesn't end at a straight remake. The game blends movie-inspired moments with original missions, and offers multiple endings, allowing space for some creative wiggle room beyond simply repeat the movie in 2D. To put it lightly, if you've always wanted to pew-pew at a T-1000 in pixel form while humming along to the 16-bit music, this might be the one for you.
Alright, my man!
So let's run through who you can play as and what to expect with each character. Sarah Connor. She's fast, agile, and deadly. She's a close quarters expert: melee, sliding attacks, quick reflexes, great for players who like to get up close and personal with their enemies. T-800 is slower, heavier, but highly resilient. The tank of the group. Less nimble, but powerful and durable. Ideal for those who like to wade into the chaos and endure a few hits. John Connor. Now he's playable in the future war segments. His vibe leans more tactical, mid to long range weapons, explosives, overall a more strategic combat. He gives different pacing compared to the other playable characters, which is nice. But each character brings their own distinct feel to the game. It's not a one-size-fits-all, which adds replay value and overall a nice variety to playing. Let's talk about the gameplay mechanics and different modes within the game. Gameplay-wise, expect classic run-and-gun plus beat-em-up action, but also a little more versatility than your average throwback 2D game. There are multiple modes in the game. We have Story Mode, follow the main campaign inspired by Terminator 2 with added missions and narrative expansions. Then there's Arcade Mode, Boss Rush, Infinite Mode, Level Training. These are for players who just want to dive straight into the action, polish their skills, or grind for high scores. Combat does change depending on the character you play, as we briefly mentioned earlier on. Guns will vary, melee and explosives will appear differently too. Enemies also vary, from Skynet foot soldiers to full-on boss fights. And yes, we have mentioned him already, but the signature villain T-1000 shows up, bringing shape-shifting threats, serious danger, and some super tense moments to the game. It has a nice balance, old school arcade energy but with modern sensibilities, with having multiple modes to play and strategic choices throughout. This adds that modern day connection that we have to gaming, make this classic 2D style game that bit more immersive. Okay, let's talk aesthetics. The pixel art is clean, detailed and stylish. Character sprites, background and effects all lean into the vibe of classic game but exceptionally well polished. It avoids feeling cheap or clunky, giving an overall well-rounded aesthetic. The music and audio design aim for a throwback vibe too, synthy, gritty, with an intensity that matches Terminator's tone. It doesn't feel like cheap nostalgia, it feels intentional and super atmospheric. Bottom line, this isn't a half-baked indie throwback. It looks and sounds like someone really cared about their craft when creating this game. And hey, maybe that's why it's been pushed back for their release. They wanted everything to be perfect. Nah. We all know they've had difficulties with the physical and digital releases happening simultaneously, which honestly I commend them for. They clearly aren't in it for the cash grab, they want the release to be fair for everyone who wants to buy a copy. But anyway, more on this topic later. So let's get back into the game itself, and let's talk about what will be familiar to Terminator fans and what we can expect to see for the first time in this game. If you know the movie, you'll recognise certain elements, moments inspired by the mall chase, the Cyberdyne facility, and future war glimpses. But the game isn't limited to just recreating movie scenes. There's new missions and what-if scenarios that expand the lore. You might get to see events that never made it into the film, and with multiple endings, your choices might affect how the story wraps up. That means whether you're a hardcore fan or completely new, there's value to this game. Familiar placements for nostalgia, and fresh content for replayability. It's a total win-win. Now the not-so-fun part. Let's dip back into the delays. Because yes, the game's launch has been postponed a few times, as we've already mentioned. Originally set for September 5th, then pushed back to October 31st, then to November 26th, and now to December 12th. We hope. Why all the shifting dates? Well, to elaborate on what we already mentioned earlier, and according to the publisher, The delays are in assembling and shipping physical copies, collectors, and day one editions, plus some extra needed polishing time for the game. It is worth mentioning the delays affect all versions, both digital and physical, because they want simultaneous worldwide releases, and again, as I mentioned earlier, I think this is great that they did this. It feels as though they are really considering everyone who wishes to purchase, making the whole experience and the amount of spoilers potentially being released to those who might not have got the game if the digital versions were released before the physicals is really great. So hats off to you guys, we do appreciate that.
No problemo.
Here's what I'm personally hoping for with the release of this game. I want the combat to feel smooth and satisfying, have that retro look with the modern responsiveness. That's the sweet spot. I'm hoping that the variety of modes gives us more than just a 4-hour speedrun. Arcade mode, boss rush, future war, it gives serious replay value, and that's what keeps things alive. I really want the art and soundtrack to deliver the original atmosphere, gritty, moody, but still faithful to the overall vibe of the film. I do hope this becomes a nice gateway for people who don't usually play retro games, showing anyone that pixel art and stylized design can still absolutely hit the home run. If Bitmap Bureau nails all of this, maybe this could end up being one of the better Terminator games released in decades. On launch day, or just after, personally I'm going to be paying attention to a few things. The controls and handling, especially between melee versus ranged versus stealth segments, they need to feel just right when merging through different levels and swapping out characters. The level design variety, if it's just go right and shoot, it could get stale. I think I can speak for all of us when we say we want a good mix of horizontal and vertical direction, stealth, and that change of pace within and between levels. Next is the replay value. While I have spoken about this being a possibility already, we want to make sure that the different characters and modes are actually worth replaying. And I do want to see respect for the source material. Do the film-inspired scenes feel earned or just slapped in for nostalgia? If most of this ends up being accurate, I'd say we have a pretty good game in our hands. All in all, Terminator 2D No Fate looks like a solid retro-style side-scroller with ambition, heart, and enough features to justify the hype. And whilst the retro style might not be for everyone, for the right audience, I think this could be a real hit. And if you are curious, don't hesitate to wishlist or pre-order, especially if you like physical editions and collecting. But if you are cautious, maybe wait for the reviews or first impressions. You can count on me for the upcoming content. Personally, I'm looking forward to jumping in on day one with everything crossed that they actually release this time. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. If you did like it, be sure to subscribe and like, it really helps me out. And be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you going to be playing this game, or are you going to be one of the ones happy to watch others playing it? I'd love to chat. Thank you once again, and I will catch you all in my next video.